Bun regăsit, doamnelor și domnilor! Avem astăzi o mare bucurie și la această mare bucurie se adaugă bucuria de a împărți această mare bucurie cu dumneavoastră. Avem din nou o invitată extraordinară. Convenția e că vom vorbi în limba engleză. So, welcome back, Elizabeth Sombart. Welcome back. It's a great pleasure and a great honor to have this conversation. With Romania, it connects you visible wires and invisible wires, or threads, you said. Which are these? Which are the invisible wires in particular to Romania?
But maybe it's because of my family. And when I was little, my grandmother, Leon, Romanian, she was speaking to me about her country. And you know, when you are small and you live in a village, in a country, in France, or you don't know that the world is big. And so she was already speaking for me about Romania, was an opening of my mind, and I was always thinking, one day I will go there and see what it is, this new country. And then I happened to know about all my family here, Antipa and Leon and everybody, and all what happened also for them during the communism time. And I remember then, when I came the first time, I get there in Iași. I could see the house, the villa of my grandfather, and I went to the cemetery, and somehow it was visible and invisible in the same time. But more than this, in all my life, I had little sign, you know, of Romania. For instance, my maestro was Celibidache, and he's Romanian. And a lot of little things like that in difficult situation, and the relation, the people I met said to me, I'm Romania. And it's like, you know, little sign from the invisible, yes.
You said it during one of your visit to Iași. I think it was first your visit.
Yeah.
You believe a lot in the family tree.
I believe that we have our life is we are a little tree or a little branch,
a part of a tree.
Part of a tree, and to make your own part of the tree blossom, you have to know the tree. You have to connect with avec les racines, no? And we make a whole forest in our life, because we have the family tree, we have the family we choose with our friends, we have the musical family. I'm living with the death all my life, because Chopin, Schubert, Bach, they are all somehow dead, but they are not. So
actually, exactly, this one is the next question of mine. You work with composers who are usually dead, who died a long time ago. In fact, did they really die?
No, they are not dead. La communion des saints. I don't know how to say this.
Yes.
I'm living it here and now. I mean, sometimes I'm working on Beethoven and I say, I have to phone him because... and then I said, no, I cannot phone him. But they are alive. They are alive. There is not dead, actually. For me, the person... And I remember about my grandmother, you know, as she was Orthodox, the tradition wanted that when she was lying dead, we had to go and see her to say hello for last time. And I will never forget this. I was 10, 11 years, and I saw her, and I didn't cry. And my father after said to me, why you didn't cry?
Because?
I said, because she was not there. He said, how? I said to him, you think she was here, but I tell you she was not here. And I knew that she was alive, but somewhere else. And I knew it It's not I believe that. At that very moment, I remember I was little, but so for me, there is, I know that, of course, there is a moment where the incarnation, where we live, you cannot live it in the same way because the person is not there physically. But I knew from ever that the real life is the soul, and the soul don't die.
I'm very glad that you say this. You returned these days to Romania for an important concert for peace. What is the peace we need? What is the peace we need most?
You know, there is three things with the peace. First thing is to understand that peace is not the contrary of war. Peace has no contrary. Peace is a state of soul which has no contrary. Secondly, peace is the reflection of our own peace. If I'm doing war in my family, or if I'm living war in my family with my friend, because you think this, but I think that, and you know, this is already a little war. How can you imagine that if in the little form, like in music, the phrasing is not right, it's not going to be right in the big form. So the second thing with the piece is to understand that until we have not find the way to unify the contrary, the opposition in ourselves, that means the desire to have right, the desire to be the best, the desire to think you are superior, it will never be peace in the world. Because the third thing is that what the world shows us is just what we are.
What motivates you to go and to sing in places that are quite unusual for music? For example, at Auschwitz, yes, to play, not to sing, to play, or at Auschwitz, or at here in Romania, Jilava Penitentiary. What is the motivation?
There are two motivations. The first is to get against an idea, which is not true, that classical music is for people cultured, rich, or I don't know what. No, the classical music belongs to everybody who have an heart. And although you don't know or you have never heard classical music, if somebody plays to you a Bach choral or, I don't know, Schubert, Ave Maria, I was playing in places in my life where the people have never seen a piano, for instance, not even this, but they were crying because the beauty of the message in the classical music. I have to know what's happening, but you don't have to know. You just have to listen and that your heart can be touched. But by what? The secret of classical music inside is the unifying of the happiness and the sadness, because there are two modes. The whole music is based on two modes, major and minor. At the end, it will be unified. This nostalgia we have from a lost paradise is described by the composer and finished in the possibility of this place of silence inside where all that is unified.
Can the greatest suffering be restrained, be damning by listening the most beautiful music?
You know, when you are in deep depression, you cannot hear music. There are sufferment, or I don't know how to say, suffering stages, and for everybody it's different. I'm very afraid when I hear musicotherapist who make you believe that I don't know, Mozart or even some classical music will heal you, and I think the vocation of the classical music is to consolate. It's an eternal consolation, but to be able to live it like this, to make it happen in you. I believe that some people are so deep in the suffering that they cannot hear music anymore. But for all the rest, yes, music is a consolation.
The third part of this volume, Introduction to Resonance Pedagogy, is entitled The Experience of Transcendence. This section opens with a series of considerations about the primordial silence and the musical silence. First of all, what is the primordial piece, the primordial silence? Is a fact, is a projection, is a theme or a topic of faith, of belief?
You know, we made a difference between the primordial silence and the musical silence because it's not the same. I believe that before the first sound came, it was a silence before. Because every impact will have a resolution, but is coming from the silence and returning to the silence, like the sound. The sound is born from the silence and at the end return to it in his normal evaluation. So when I tell you that music helps you to go into your own silence,
yes,
this silence we have inside us, in this very special space of gratuity, this space of generosity, this space we have inside that nobody can buy, nobody can enter in it, nobody can. It is this space. This is the silent space where you find the presence with a big P. Whatever the name you will give to this, it's an experience, and there you understand that the silence is not dead, and is not the death, but the highest relation of love.
And in this this area, what does it mean, the musical silence exactly, and what does this have to do with the primordial silence?
Because everything nasce and everything come from the primordial silence. Everything, you, the sound, the music, everything. That is a relation that before everything was silence, and then the musical silence is what I told you before, is that there is no sound before a silent. Before, I mean, it's coming from a silence, and if you play without having put you in the situation that you first put yourself in silence, and then with the breathing you make the sound come, then you are just in the mechanic and not in the life,
not in the spirit of the yes. Noisy is intuitively an opponent of silence, and even more so of musical silence. But it be also an ally of silence. We can work with noisy for building silence.
No, you cannot build the silence with the noise. The only way is to integrate the noise. Not as something against you, but I will tell you something. one day I was playing in a hospital, but in the section where the people are dying. I mean, they enter there because they know it's a palliative place. And there was there a woman who said a few weeks ago, I would like to be in this concert. So she was in the room, it's like a little church in the hospital, and on her bed. And a lot of other people, but she was the only bed they put there. And when I arrived, a little bit before the concert, I heard the noise of, she was with a lot of things, and there were a beep. Beep,
yes,
beep,
I
yeah?
know.
Okay.
I know.
You know. And I said to myself, oh, how will I play with this noise? Because this is a noise which is not prepared to be in the music. And then I did what I told you before. I said, okay, I will integrate this noise. Because normally we have integrate phone for the people, car for the people, the paper, all this we know, and it's not going to disturb us. Because it's not disturbing because I know those noise and they are integrated and they will not make me go out of my musical silence. But this was new, this beep.
And very different.
So I went there and I prayed 10 minutes with her and with this noise. And believe me, when I finished the concert on the last chord, something happened. I said, what's happening? I was between two world. And the beep, she died on the last chord. And the beep stopped. And this stop of the beep made, for me, much more noise than the beep.
Oh my God.
And I went to her, and she had a tear still there, but a tear of light. And I said, if there is one concert in my life who was really important, I don't know, but it is this one. Because the music has, and she knew it before, this power to take you to the light.
It's an amazing story, this one. How do you cut your music time from your large budget of time?
Budget of time.
Yes.
This is two words.
Yes. The musical time, actually. Can such a musical time build, or is it with you always?
You know, you're not pianist or musician the 2 or the 7 hours where you are in the piano. You are a musician all your life, because you live, although when I speak to you, I mean, the relation I can feel are the same in music. Music is not a god. Music is a way to, it's a royal way, I mean, to find yourself and what is bigger in you than you. But actually it's come a moment where every gesture can be epiphanic if it is connecting all the time with what is bigger than us.
In the relation of the music, what is the difference between hearing and listening? I think in French it sounds stronger.
Yeah, you know, it's a question of consciousness, awareness. You can hear without listening, but the moment where you listen, something in your conscience is opening to what in the music, to put together things to create a unity. And in this moment, this operation, how do I do this? How do I put it together? Where is the high point? Where is how the end can be in the beginning? Already, all this law of the phenomenology is a way for you to not just play the notes, but how to make that the notes become music. And this is how you get from mechanical to a type of transcendence of the mechanical. You can play the notes on the piano, and you can phone your mother, and you can think, oh my God, I have to go and buy something, or I don't know what. Because you can play mechanically, your finger knows.
But you are not there in the heart of the music.
You're not there. You are not sculpting the sound.
Okay, sculpting, yes.
You are not doing the cathedral.
Doing the cathedral.
Yeah. Creating the cathedral.
We were living in an age of, let's say, cascading revolution. Of revolutions that are happening very, very quickly.
There are so many revolutions.
Yes,
which one?
There are so many revolutions that suggest or tell us directly that the time of the master is over. Why is the master's institution actually very present? Why must be this institution of master very present?
What do you mean by master?
Master, like let's say, like maestro, like your relation with Mr. Celibidache, or like your relation with Hilde Lange-Rühl, in this sense, like a director of conscience.
Today, our young pupils, they have no master; they have YouTube. And if you live in a world where God is dead, if you kill the father, you kill the maestro.
How was Sergiu Celibidache? How was your meeting with him? He lives.
I was very, very privileged because not because I was better than the other, no, but because he was living at my grandfather's in Berlin because of my grandmother, Romania. She was. They were. Accueillis. They were having some young Romanian in Berlin. My grandfather was Werner Sombart, the economist, and so
very big economist, yes.
And Celibidache was there, and he was very friend with my father because they had almost the same age. They were 13 and 15 and 17, like this. And I always heard about him since I was born, and I knew that he will be the last maestro I will go, and because I thought to myself, I first have to do the technique and everything, and then I will go there. And when I arrived, I played for him, and he said very nice things, and he accepted me like a pupil. I worked a lot with him, more than 10 years. All what I know about phenomenology come from him. And when I said before I was privileged, because I was for him somehow the family, from the recording of Berlin and my father and my grandfathers. And I remember when I went the first time to the university where he was giving the classes in Mayence, I had the feeling the truth is there. And how come that nobody teaches us this? That's why I did the pedagogy, because Celibidache was always saying, music is transcendence of the knowledge. But I said to him, so we have to have the knowledge to transcend it. So let us write. Then if the people remain in the knowledge and they don't transcend it, at least they know the knowledge. Okay? It was steps like this. And I had a little red book, and I was written everything, because when I was in Mayence, when I came back, all the other was waiting for me, or the other musician in France, and I had to do the course for them. So I had to transmit immediately well. And I remember I had this book. I was in the train, and I was saying to me, this red book is like the Mao book. I mean, I have there the truth, and I really had this feeling, and I still have this feeling.
The real red book.
Yeah, the real one.
The real one, yes. He was the first maestro for you.
No, it was the last one.
But Hilda Lange Rule, you write also.
Yeah, because she was unbelievable. She was transcending the gesture. So when I arrived in her class, the first thing she said to me is, "You really believe that you play the piano with the finger?" I said, "Yes." She said, "No. You play the piano with the diaphragm." I said, "Okay, please." What is that? And the 3 first months we were on the floor, breathing, and exercising the strength we have in the diaphragm. And then we had 3 months more on the piano to learn how the gesture is not something like this, but the consequence of her inner movement. Otherwise, it's not connecting. And the sound is not going to be connected either. It's going to stay mechanic. And then we had to learn how much I give, like strength for this passage, how less, how I can use this. And then I happen to know that in the martial art, they are using this. And it's an enormous knowledge, the ki, the chi, I don't know how you say this in English. So I read a lot of books about that. And all these books, you can read them and just put piano instead of arc, or instead of, because it is the same thing. But afterwards, when you take this glass here, you take it also with this
part of your body.
Yeah, who make your arm going there. Yeah? And so she was just amazing. Because how it is, how can I compare it with the phenomenology of the sound, which I learned with Celibidache, and the phenomenology of the gesture? What they have in common is, I mean, it doesn't serve anything if you know how to phrase, but the gesture is not unified. Finally. So she was teaching how to unify your whole body, but not only muscularly, not only, but from the silence, from this,
from the invisible, actually, part of, yes.
Yeah. Yes. And that makes a difference. Sometimes people say, but you don't really play like other pianists. How you do? And it's not to speak about me, because I have had everything to learn and I don't feel anything about me. But I know that the difference comes not by miracle or grace. The grace, yes, of course, is there, but can be there. But it's because of that. It's because there is nothing in sich, in itself. Everything is connected, and we have to connect everything when we play.
It's an apology of relation in the one.
It is the most important word is relation. Yeah, and that is exactly what they wanted to cut in the pandemic. They wanted to cut the relation between people, and the people died about this more than COVID.
It was no coincidence that I choose to go in this direction with our conversation. Actually, the hidden question in my mind is this: what needs to be done to make master's role what it was once? How can we let's great masters again? It's a paraphrases. all the time is finished for this paradigm?
It is finished. For the moment, it is finished.
For the moment. Mm-hmm. For the moment.
Mm-hmm. Mm. It is finished because I told you before why. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm-hmm. If you cannot respect the authority mm-hmm. for any reason, because of education, because children doesn't respect anymore their parents, the teacher, we are not exemplary. We were not exemplary either. So, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then you have all I told you before, if God is dead for those people, how can they respect and admire an authority? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because only when you have experienced it, you know that authority is love and mm-hmm. not constraint. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But you have to experience this and not to say no before. Mm-hmm. Because the big present is that obeisance mm-hmm. and is freedom.
Yes, it's a paradox, but this is the fact.
Every truth is in the paradox. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And Christianism is the biggest paradox, probably.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's why it's the truth.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I agree, like a believer. And the last one question is this one. In the book Music in the Heart of Fascination, you tell us about the first memory related to music, about the childhood room, about your mother playing the piano, mm-hmm. and about the dream of making music, and more than this, about the dream of being music myself in one day. What is this dream? To be music one day, to be music in one day. Are you continuing to dream in this?
Celibidache was saying that we make music to free us mm-hmm. to make music. Mm-hmm. Everything we do in life mm-hmm. Is to freedom from something. I'm thirsty, mm-hmm. I will drink, so I'm free from the thirst. Mm-hmm. No? And everything is like that. The desire, everything. Mm-hmm. And I thought when I was young, very young, when I was little, that actually the Christ, excuse me if I speak about him.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Very well.
Okay. Never speak about music. Never. One word. Mm. Because he was music. Because the logos, when we are visitating, when we are in relation with the verb, with the logos, then we are music. Then our word is not separate mm-hmm. and can say one day this and the next day the contrary. No. Mm. No. And at the end, I always thought that Christ was not speaking, he was singing, he was music. That's why he didn't speak about music. You know, the ruby mm-hmm. doesn't like the red. It's red.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth Sombart. It was a great honor, a great privilege.
Thank you. Thank you, Romania. Thank you for everything.
Thank you very much again.